Welcome back to a new video. So today we're going to put these two cars up against each other, the Aventador Svj and the Huracan STO. We're going to do some drag races, some brake races, and just see which is the best car. We'll start with the Aventador Svj. This car is 11 years old. So before that was the Murcielago, and when this came out back then in 2011, this car was absolutely state of the art. I was lucky enough to have one of the very first cars back then in matte black as well, and that looked crazy. It was like a car nobody ever seen before. This one now, the Svj, the last of the model, the J, the Jota, was the very, very top of the range. It's what they do at the very end to try and get those last few sales. And this is probably the most collectible. So this car, 770 brake horsepower, 2.7 0 to 60. It's a fast old beast. This is 8.5 litre V12. I had an SV before this, which was allegedly the end of the range. So it's the collectible one. This is 50 kg lighter than the standard Aventador. And everybody who had the SV assumed that they were going to have the last one. The one which they could keep, the one which they could collect, the one which they could basically have as their retirement fund because it was going to be worth the money. And good old Lamborghini at the last minute brought out another one. And that's exactly what happened with this, the Huracan STO. So the STO, the Super Trofeo Omologato, it's basically a homologation version to race in the 24-hour races, the endurance racing. They were already racing these, so they didn't actually need to do it. So this was inspired by racing rather than manufactured for racing. So there was a big difference there. They really did it just because they wanted to. I had the Performante before this one. I thought it was going to be the last of the model because this is 2014. It's 8 years old. And then they brought out this one. I had wind that it was coming out, so I quickly sold my Performante thinking that this was going to be better. I should have waited. I saw the pictures like I do. I saw wings, I saw bolt-on parts and thought that's going to be the one. But what I didn't know, this one was two-wheel drive. 0 to 60, 3 seconds, well the Performante was 2.9. Top speed, I think the Perf was 217, this was 192, and it was because of the downforce. It had 50% more downforce than the car which was already stuck to the road. This is the track version, so it's not about top speed, it's more about the drive. So this car is 50 kg lighter. It's slower, it's a track car. It wasn't meant for top speed, it was about agility, getting around that racetrack faster. So what that actually means is for me, I can get to Tesco's probably a little bit faster, but with a much higher heart rate. So 50 kg lighter than the Performante, which was already full of carbon, racing seats. So where did they lose it? Well, they started off with the body. It's 75% carbon fibre, and the glass is 25% lighter. So they even made the glass thinner to make this thing faster. It was all about that GT3 race car and trying to make something literally a race car for the road. So lots of compromises for the everyday user. So where do we start on this back end? Probably the most beautiful back end on the car I've ever seen. Like this rear ring, obviously everything's carbon fibre and just crazy light, manually adjustable. And this fin, I was lucky enough a few years ago to be invited to the factory when they were launching the Roger Dubuis GT3 car. And this was on that race car, but it actually came all the way back to here. It's a shame they dropped that for this. All these perforations, holes, heat and air, they all serve a purpose. And that's a good thing about this. Because it was from a race car, all these vents really do make a difference to the car. And this snorkel, the air intake of that, it comes back to this back spoiler. So it pulls the car down and obviously it helps with the engine cooling. So the rear end of the Svj, also very special indeed. That rear spoiler is probably the most shaped spoiler on a production car up to date. And these vents on the back which cover the engine, you know, it's for looks, and you've got that glass panel which is beautiful, but these all act as downforce onto this back wing. Vents, holes, diffuser, everything to pull this car down when you're doing 200 miles an hour. And these exhausts, we've touched on those before, they are absolutely massive, and in that matte black. And how high they are as well. They put them there and there's nowhere to put a registration plate, but good old Lamborghini, they worry about that afterwards. So wheels and brakes on this thing, we've got a 21-inch rear wheel with a 4-pot caliper, 20-inch on the front with a 6-pot, carbon ceramic discs as standard. You don't even have to choose that as an option. You know, this is a standard car with carbon ceramics. And if you think that's special, the STO is way above that. 20-inch wheels front and back on this, but they're made of magnesium, so they weigh the same as a Rivita, but this centre wheel nut, that's a socket, so unless your surname's Stoltman, that's not come undone. Now the discs on this are really special. Carbon ceramics is old technology to this. This is the same as an F1 car. Whatever that material is, it's 4 times more thermal conductive than carbon ceramics. That is pure racing car. Now the SVJ is a big car, but remarkably this has a smaller turning circle than a Ford Focus, and they do that by a couple of special things. So the front wheels steer and the rear wheels steer, so it just means it turns faster. The rear has a limited slip diff, so again allowing it to turn. But one really clever thing about this car is this system. So under here you'll see some splits. Now what that does is they close on either side, so when you're going really fast and turning, it stops the airflow to the one side, drags the back end round. Now that is really clever stuff. So we already know Jane fits in there, but this one, the STO has this carbon fibre bit just like the race car. Look at that, everything's carbon fibre, and the only storage we have is that bit there. So that is the only storage. Now apparently that's designed to fit a race helmet. I don't think Jane's getting in there. So this is the tool to get the back off, 3D printed. So this is a V10 5.2 litre compared to the 8.5 V12, but obviously this is a much lighter car. And what I love about these cars, which is obviously going to end, is these big engine, normal aspirated, non-turbo cars. You've got no lag, you've got pure drive, but obviously electric's coming and this is going to be a thing of the past. One thing we didn't touch on before was this V12, and here it's got the way the engine works, which way it fires, which is good for when Nick needs to build it back together after I've blown it up. Let's hear it. The engine moves, it's that powerful. And now the Huracan V10. Not too shabby, sounds good, love it. Now starting this car, you can see it's like a fighter jet. It's sat so far back from the screen. To start it is like launching a missile. Right, let's have a good go in this car. Wow. Oh. That's a good one, Andy. You can see, you can't see a lot out of this car. 140. 150. Listen to that. Unbelievable. That sounds nice. Well, that's it for this one. Try again through these cones. So that was a lot of fun. We've managed to set the brakes on fire and we've lost the back number plate. So we must have been going quite fast. Right, let's do some laps in the STO, see if we can survive. Traction off, kids mode off. See you in a bit. Oh, this thing's lively. Oh, I'm not sure about that traction control off on this. That makes me nervous. That was a bit daring. shocks work perfectly together. Because it's rear wheel drive, it's super responsive. This car is sketchy, impractical, dangerous. 3 words I'd like to describe myself with. This is dangerous. Traction off. I'm not brave enough for that now. I've tried that, nearly killed myself. Won't be doing that again. Let's see what this does. 0 to 60 on there. See where we're at. We didn't launch control, it's icy. We'll try that again, just see what the difference is this time. 3, 2, 1. That was traction control off. 3.68. Let's take the SVJ out, see what we can get 0 to 60 in that. I'm going sensible, seatbelt on, only because I don't want to listen to that buzzing. We'll go traction off to start with, then turn round. Of course, we'll do it the Asbo way. Like that. That was a little bit lazy. 3.86. I think it might be because we haven't got the temperature, it's still telling it's icy. Well, we've got a green light, 3.36, and we haven't used launch control yet on that. See that warning, icy road. Not ideal. 0 to 60, 3.3, I don't think we're going to beat that. So we got Chansey, Monster Energy Girl. That's definitely a win to me. I think Nick must have had some wheel spin. What happened to him, George?
He's a bad driver, that's what he is.
Any excuses? Car. We're not going traction. That's not cheating, that's just bending the rules. He's not going to be happy. Yeah, I listened to him start moaning. Sorry about that.
Did someone cheat, did they?
No, there's no need for words. About being lazy off the start.
Give me the STO back, I prefer that.
He prefers it, but he's slower in this. Can't hear what we're saying. Alright. Oh, we've had him. He's got 100 grand more and about 200 brake horsepower. So now we're going to do a brake test. About 60 to stop. Pretty sure the STO will win this. McCann take the win again? Do it again. Wants to do it again. If he had a won, he wouldn't want to do it again. You have to have a steward's inquiry on this because that is seriously close.
That one was better. I might have actually won.
That is close. Pretty sure it's still me. We were about level.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Well, this is good, George, because I can go two-handed now. Then we have a warning, icy road. Ideal. So that's the end of this one. Thanks again, subs are going up, really appreciate that. Like and subscribe, it does help, and comments, they really do help us. So please tell us more about what you want to see. There's obviously a few things you've seen already, and we can do more stuff in it, especially the Ken Block car. Obviously I'm not going to drive it as good as Ken, but we'll have a go in it when we do get a chance. Hopefully next time you'll see that. Which one do I prefer? If I'm honest, I probably prefer the SVJ because it's a big old machine around the roads, but round this track today it was beautiful. The STO is dangerous. Two-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive obviously, sketchy, fantastic brakes. We managed to set the brakes on fire with that one, and we didn't really do that much, but yeah, overall my vote goes this way. See you next time.